You ever watch a roof sag under the weight of winter and think, yeah, that's going to end badly? I did. And here's the funny part, nobody listened. Not the first time, not the second. Not when the snow started piling up like bad decisions. You'd think people would care when their clubhouse looks like it's one blizzard away from becoming modern art. But no, they laughed. Finded me, even. Tried to make me the problem. But see, when you're holding proof photos, footage, a forged inspection with the president's fingerprints all over it, there's only so much they can do before the truth starts leaking out like water through a rotten beam. Let me back up. This is Western Montana, early December. Quiet enough you can hear your own doubts. Echo. The HOA Clubhouse sits on a hill staring down at our little neighborhood like it's royalty. I noticed at first a subtle dip in the north roof line. Nothing wild, just enough that anyone who spent 20 years as a county safety inspector would see it and think, well, here we go again. I tried to help honest. Offered a volunteer inspection. Karen, the HOA president. Tight smile, death grip on her clipboard, basically told me to save my conspiracy theories for after the holidays. Should have dropped it, but I remembered what happens when you ignore that gut feeling, the aftermath, the mess, the if only. So I sent an email, kept it short, laid out the facts, cited building code, attached photos. Offered again to help. Their answer, public ridicule. Karen read my email out loud at the next meeting, did a whole performance shivering, and pretending we were about to get snowed into the Stone Age. Everybody laughed. I just stood there listening to my heart pound in my ears, feeling more angry than embarrassed. Went home early, couldn't sleep. Started documenting everything. Every morning, I'd photograph the roof, watch the snow stack up, the ice dams grow along the eaves, the downspouts clogged for weeks. Wrote down temperatures, wind moisture. Even tracked how they weren't clearing the walkways. I wasn't looking for drama. I still hoped, maybe, just maybe, someone would notice before it was too late. 10 days go by, another snowstorm dumps 1.5 feet on us. I'm out walking, and I hear it, a hollow, straining creak from the clubhouse. Same spot, worse sag. I send a second email, annotated pictures. A flat-out warning, if we get hit again, that roof won't make it. No reply. 2 days later, I get a notice in my mailbox, dissemination of false information to undermine board authority. Fine, $125. Plus a warning that if I keep talking about the clubhouse, they'll take legal action. I'm not making this up. They called me a liar, a fearmonger. Never said a word about the roof itself. That same afternoon, Karen walks past my house, doesn't say a thing, just stands there eyeing my barn, then the sky, then back to me, smirk on her face. That was all the answer I needed. So I went all in, bought a couple weatherproof cameras, stuck them on public easement poles, pointed right at the clubhouse. I know the law. If you can see it from public property, you can film it. Spent the next morning elbows deep in county records, pulling permits, past inspections, every roofing contract on file. Found the last inspection. Dated 2 years ago, signed by Dave Harrelson, P.E. Here's the problem, Dave died in 2018. I'd been at the memorial. The license number was his, but it had expired, and the stamp was a blurry digital scan, not real ink. Metadata said Karen was the last to edit the file. That inspection was a fake, clear as day. I print everything, stash it in a folder, but I know better than to go public yet. I need backup. I call Hank Old Friend, structural engineer, the kind of guy who still ties his boots with a double knot. We meet before sunrise, snow up to our knees, and I show him the sag, the ice, everything. He doesn't say much, just keeps measuring. Finally, he sighs. You were right to call. These trusses are original, outdated, water-damaged, patched wrong. If we get another heavy storm, that thing's going down. Could be ugly. He tells me to document everything. Daily photos, time-lapse permit trail. I mention the forged inspection. That gets his attention. He says he'll write an unofficial report, nothing formal unless requested. But if this roof caves and someone's hurt, it's criminal negligence. I give Hank the folder, walk home, and find another HOA notice taped to my front door this time, threatening the cops if I trespass again. I'd been standing on a public sidewalk. They're rattled now, which means I'm getting close. So I send a certified letter requesting an emergency HOA meeting attach. Hank's summary: no accusations, just the facts. They ignore me. Instead, the whole community gets an email calling me a troublemaker, warning everyone to trust your neighbors, trust your volunteers. That night, Diane from 2 doors down knocks on my door. She's nervous, hands me a USB. Turns out her nephew helped do a shady roof patch job last spring. No permits, just new shingles overwrought. The photos she gives me are worse than anything I imagined: rotten beams, black mold, rusted nails. Dated 3 days after the supposed inspection. I back up the files, hide copies in my attic. My lawyer gets one. The local paper gets one set to send if anything happens to me. And I wait. The next storm's due in 3 days. The next envelope from the HOA comes plain letterhead, $375 fine for community disruption. This time, Karen hand signs it and writes, "This is your final warning." I stand in my kitchen, letter in hand, watching the live camera feed as the roof sags even further. It's obvious to anyone now, but they call it defamation. I don't quit. I put everything: photos, footage, fake inspection, Diane's files, Hank's report into a private cloud folder. Then I email the whole community. I know I'm controversial, but this isn't about personality. It's about physics. Here's the evidence. Decide for yourself. I hit send. Within minutes, my phone blows up. Karen's enforcer drops off a cease and desist from their attorney. Now it's legal threats, real ones. That night, I call an old contact at the state licensing board. Ask her to check the engineer's credentials. Next morning, that guy's been dead 5 years. No record of a license transfer. That document's 100% fake. That's felony forgery. Now it's game on. I mail a full report to the county, fake inspection photos, Hank's findings, all the threats and fines. That same afternoon, I catch 2 board members outside, shoveling snow onto the edge of the roof, trying to hide the sag. I record everything. That night, the fire marshal shows up. He's read my file. If this checks out, it's not just incompetence, it's criminal. Will you testify? I don't hesitate. He asks for my footage. I give him access. For the first time in weeks, I feel the air get still. Like the wind finally stopped pushing against me. Next morning, sirens not racing, just slow municipal trucks heading for the clubhouse. County's moving fast. Yellow tape goes up: caution. Occupancy prohibited. Structural risk. But I've got more. My new camera out back caught 2 figures hoods up climbing the roof. At 2:27 a.m., hauling bags, shoveling something heavy over the weak spot. When I zoom in, it's Karen's crimson parka, clear as day. They're not hiding damage, they're adding weight. If the roof goes down, they'll blame it on sabotage. On me. I back up the footage, call the fire marshal. He arrives with deputies. I hand them everything. The footage: Diane's ledger, a sworn statement. One deputy says, "This is RICO territory." Ben, the fire marshal, nods. If we can tie the money trail to the fraud, this is federal. By noon, the county freezes HOA bank accounts. Karen panics, sends one last community email calling me a vandal. Too late. I upload the video her on the roof sandbags my warnings. Local news runs it at 6. By the next day, neighbors who hadn't spoken to me in months drop by with casseroles. They all want to know if the rumors are true. I just show them the evidence. Hank comes over, digs through the ledgers. This isn't just sloppy, they're laundering money. Fake vendors, inflated charges. Same handwriting on different checks. Nearly $90,000 gone in 18 months. He finds a vendor that doesn't exist. Karen signed off on every payment. I pass it all to the authorities. Katie, an investigative reporter, picks up the story. Her piece airs that night. Karen vanishes before dawn. But it's too late. State and county move and subpoenas fly a whistleblower. Marty, the old treasurer, leaks emails one, saying if that roof goes down, make sure it lands on him. I feel my blood go cold. That's not just neglect, that's attempted murder. Grand jury convenes. I'm called to testify. Walk them through everything. Warning emails, the forged inspection, the threats, the sabotage, the collapse itself. I wasn't trying to destroy anything I tell them, just keep it standing. But when people in power treat the truth like the enemy, collapse is just a matter of time. Justice takes time, but it comes. State freezes all. HOA assets refunds. Fines with the money they find in Karen's secret wine cellar. Yes, really built with community funds. Civil suit follows. The state passes a law yearly, audits, mandatory training, open meeting recordings. At Elk Summit, the clubhouse gets cleared out by neighbors, not contractors. They vote to leave it as an open field. Kids' dogs, no more bureaucracy. I donate a bench. Carved into it. The weight of silence is always heavier than the truth. Karen gets caught crossing into Idaho with cash burner phones and fake IDs. Jason flips, gives up everything. More indictments drop. The town is different now. No more fear. No more midnight fines. At the last meeting, they asked me to help draft countywide HOA reforms. It passes, then spreads to nearby counties. Katie runs a follow-up, the man who took down an HOA. She asks, "What would you say to people who feel helpless?" I tell her. Start documenting. Not to fight, but because truth needs help being heard. I still walk by that field. Still see the scars, but also the new grass, the aspens we planted. The town didn't just survive, it learned to breathe again. That's what happens when you stop letting the powerful write their own story. Sometimes it takes one stubborn neighbor, a camera, and a mountain of snow to tip the scales. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line? When does standing up for truth become your job, not someone else's? Have you ever had to push back even when everyone told you to sit down? If you have, or if you're in the thick of it now, share your story. Sometimes speaking up is the only thing that keeps the roof from falling in on all of us.